Using callbacks. I'm doing this in a two-parter. Callbacks are tremendous tools that you can use as a player, as a GM, in comedy, in drama. Basically, if you're able to set it up properly, you can deliver a tremendous payoff. This video is focused on a dramatic payoff, one where I intend to hurt emotionally. So what better game than 10 Candles? A narrative-focused TTRPG where all the PCs are going to die. It's not a question, it's the answer at the end. It's just about how we get there. I played this over on the Lost Caravan channel, so y'all should definitely check them out. The community is awesome and they always run amazing games. Now 10 Candles has a mechanic built in, where every player, as their characters, record a final message to the world on a tape recorder. Since this was streamed, we all recorded on our own and sent it in before the game. I had the privilege of surprise. But even then, I needed to get everything set up so I could deliver the emotional blow I was aiming for. Firstly, let me talk about my character. The character concept was a motivational speaker named Michael, someone who delivers little messages to uplift people. So the gimmick I needed to set up was these motivational messages and how I could deliver them, trying to make them fit in the game. I came up with 3 fairly broad ones. 1, lighten the mood. 2, big things first. 3, live your truth. I chose these 3 because I wanted to show what Michael was preaching for money and fame and what he was failing to do. I wanted him to be failing to do something because of the power of regret. He is going to die at the end of the session, so he's going to be faced with the reality of him having neglected the things he tells everyone to do. Now I have these 3 messages, and I have them ready for when the opportunities present themselves. I did make a conscious decision to hit each of these only once. But what about the rule of 3s? See, here's the thing. Though each motivational message is different, the actual bit is that I have the motivational messages on a post-it note at all. So in effect, each message is just another beat of the same bit. I basically end up breaking the rule of 3s with the final message. But I think it's okay then, because we switch gears into emotional damage. Now context-wise, I'll try to speed us through. The game begins with the sun disappearing, the world shrouded in darkness. Our squad was on the sea when it happened, and we returned to an empty town, as far as we saw. In panic, we scrambled for friends, family, the people we care about. We headed for Casey's home and found something that wasn't his mother, some strange being. We fired a shot and ran off. To find supplies, Brandon led us to the sporting goods store. With the hope of finding weapons, shelter, survival equipment, my character, Michael, followed him to the camping supplies, where I made a dad joke to express my first message.
I wouldn't mind checking out the camping section. I mean, it's getting pretty intense right now.
Michael's about to be past tense.
Hey, this is part of Mike's motivational messages. Number 1, lighten the mood.
Oh my god.
This was probably the hardest one to find the moment for. In fact, at this point I had almost given up on delivering the motivational messages at all. The timing never seemed quite right, because tonally I didn't want to destroy everything, especially in fear for our families and whatnot. So I found a slightly less tense moment, decided to give it a try, and then justify it with a message. The great part though, was that with this motivational messages packaging, I didn't need it to land as a joke. That was secondary, because of what's coming at the end. Now I did the extra visual bit with the giant notepad because I was on a stream. I wanted it to be a big thing, to call attention to it because it'll be important later. But you know what else is important? At least to me? If you could leave a like, subscribe, comment, it really helps me a lot. Now in the narrative progression, we end up struggling, encountering more of these beings, and shooting in the dark. This shot hits Billy's brother. Michael, in an effort to redeem himself for the mistakes of his life, having neglected the people closest to him, tries to help Billy, assists in carrying Billy's brother, in spite of this potentially slowing us down.
Michael is gonna help with Sean, because Mike's motivational message is number 2, big things first. And so we have to go with the more important stuff.
As these messages are unfolding, we're learning about what Michael preaches, so then we can see the juxtaposition of what he practices. Because of the regrets of that juxtaposition, he is now doing the things that he should have been doing all his life, specifically not neglecting the most important elements, the big things. As our group scrambles, next to find Emily's child, a lot happens. But we find our next message when Michael goes to snap Emily out of what froze her in the house. It's important to note now that Michael has been infected. He's had these feelings pop up, pushing him to help the amphibious creatures to take down our group. I might have done a little emotional appeal here to not just betray us all. Well, here goes.
There's been like some impulses here and there, and I imagine that Michael might have like a feeling of like, maybe I also have to converge on Emily. And then it's just like one of those weird feelings. Wait, it's not me. That's weird. That's Emily. That's my friend. And that brings me to motivational message number 3. Mike's motivational messages: live your truth. And Michael is going to run towards whatever that shadow is and try to do his best Brandon impression and try to tackle it.
The circumstances worked out better than I expected. To be able to nudge away from hurting my teammates with the last message, the most important one, being true to yourself. It all aligned perfectly. Now, both Casey and Michael would perish here. But of course, everyone was going to perish. As we know, it was 10 candles. But all of us fought tirelessly to the end, to try to help each other to the end, to survive as long as we could, to fight the good fight until we could fight no more. Now, with all my messages in place, it's time for what we've been preparing for all game: the callback. The finale that I recorded before the game even started. I knew the ending I was aiming for, and I knew how I was going to set it all up. Callbacks to every message I emphasized, so everyone could remember. Sort of a built-in inside joke of shared experience. But now we gotta give everyone the context, the reasoning behind it all, and the biggest truth behind the lie of Michael.
Hi, motivators. I have a confession. I've been a hypocrite. I have not been following my rules. Michael's motivational messages number 3. Live your truth. Say what you'll do what you say, so people can rely on your word. I'm sorry. This is the case where I need you to do what I say and not what I did. I'm not living my truth. And honestly, if you're hearing this, I'm not living at all. Motivational messages number 2. Big things first. Do the big things first, and then the little things will be like a little treat that you earn for having finished the big ones. You don't know what the really important things are till it's too late. And now, it's too late. Don't be like me. I focused on the little things. Fame, fortune. Do the things that are important. Say the things that need to be said. Jenny, will you marry me? Motivational messages number 1. Lighten the mood. Even when humor might be inappropriate, your effort to lighten the mood could lighten someone's burden. At least, if you say no, I won't be around to hear it. And no, it probably won't do anything to lighten your burden. I'm selfishly trying to lighten mine, because I live with the weight of knowing that if you say yes, I will never be able to hear it. So don't be like me. An idiot trying to lighten the mood in his last moments, trying to catch up on the big things he left to the last minute that no longer exists for him. Unable to live his truth. Jenny, I love you so much. Goodbye.
Let me finish with the breakdown of this message. I knew, generally, what the other characters' backgrounds were, so that I could create one that was different, fresh. Create this, not necessarily unrequited love, but unfulfilled and neglected love. In the face of finality, the things that hurt the most are the things we didn't do, we didn't say. And so I wanted to express that, something that we can all sympathize with, and hopefully won't have to feel ourselves. And then it was just a matter of tying the 3 messages I chose to the point of it all. Perhaps the hardest one was the attempt to lighten the mood. I knew I would fail in that regard, so I made Michael recognize that too, and make that further enhance the pain of the emotion. Of course, this element, this motivational messages gimmick that allowed me to inject a little bit of levity during the session, and saying these platitudes amidst the game, does create a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of a turn, because as we call them all back, instead of humor, we get emotional turmoil. A little twist at the end. So I hope that's helpful for you. If so, leave a like, subscribe, drop a comment. It really helps me out. I'm going to do a comedic callback one soon, so turn those notifications on and you'll know first thing when that comes out. Until next time, stay safe and take care.